Hi, this is Shui with a review of the Zoom Rise 2. At a glance, it looks like a different colorway of the Zoom BB Next, but it's not. So I guess Nike does it again, regurgitating their design for the season. I guess most major brands do that. But this is not a takedown version of the Zoom BB Next. It is the second edition of Zoom Rise, which received a lot more praise and standing ovation than the Alpha Dunk, which Nike thought was going to be one of its flagship models. So the difference here is that, as you can tell, the Forefoot Zoom Air is a lot bigger, but it's just the window that's big. It's not the Zoom Air itself. It's similar. It feels similar to Alpha Dunk on the Forefoot, except a little bit more lower profile. But the downside to having this huge window is I thought it might act as a good outrigger, but it doesn't. It compresses right here and it folds in, so it does not provide the lateral inversion protection, anti-lateral inversion protection that you need. So outrigger is basically non-existent because it just folds with the midsole. What they need to do is learn from some previous Nike models, and the Peak Underground, what they did with the outrigger is friggin' amazing. This is what they need to do. That's one very disappointing element, which is I guess the encore disappointment from the Zoom BB Next. But what sets it apart in terms of what makes it better than the Zoom BB Next is that there's a clear heel to toe drop, which is very important for basketball sneaker to make sure you don't have any Achilles tendon ruptures or strains or whatnot. And the heel doesn't have any Zoom Air cushioning. I'm not sure if this is injected Phylon or EVA or Cushlan, but it feels great. It feels great. It feels as good as the React foam they use for the Zoom BB Next. Except the React foam just compresses too much and it's too mushy, and this is the just right amount of mushy. If you try the Jumpman 2020, that's the kind of cushioning that you feel. I don't know how durable it is. I don't know how long it will take until it's compressed a little bit too much and it becomes it bottoms out, but so far it's been okay for the Jumpman 2020, so this should be fine. And on the Forefoot, the Zoom Air on the Forefoot is not too elevated. It's not extremely low to the ground, but it's low enough. But I do wish they had the zoom on right below your foot instead of at the outsole. It feels better on the medial side than the lateral side. Maybe it's because of the caging that makes it a little bit more bulky and less flexible. They do have a nice job. They did a nice job of having another flex groove here to make sure your shoe is more responsive. But I wish they use a softer foam on your toes, because it feels a little bit hard here. Because if you're using a uniform level of, I guess, density for all the foams, what's good here, it's hard here. What's good here is too soft here. So that's something that Nike could work on next time. I'm sure it will jack up the price a little bit more that way, but maybe it's worth it. The wing here doesn't really do much. It looks good. It's reminiscent of the old Air Penny 2s. I guess it kind of helps provide some lockdown, but not incredibly great. But this is an extension of the midfoot shank, which is good. It really carves out a lot of the excess material here, making the shoe a lot lightweight. I love decoupled midsoles. I think all basketball shoes should have decoupled midsoles. It weighs only about 370 grams for a size 9.5. That's slightly heavier than the Kobe 360s, which was one of the most paper light shoe there are. But it actually feels lighter than the Kobe 360s. So it weighs very little and it feels even lighter on foot. I would say this is the lightest feeling shoe that's out there for this season. The upper material, they've got some perforated nodules here for some reason. I don't know what purpose it serves, but I guess it's aesthetic. It's kind of a knit material, textile material that's coated with not exactly I guess not exactly fused, but something close to that. So it feels like it's lacquered or coated with something. So it's not the most breathable material out there, but it's very soft yet firm. So it's pretty decent. The collar padding is all good. There's nothing that provides any discomfort that digs into you, or it's gonna shape your foot in any way. So that's great. The outsole pattern is fantastic, just like the Zoom BB Next. It's good. The texture of the rubber used and the depth of the groove and the blade thickness is all nicely made. It's got good overall traction, but unfortunately the pivot point is in a weird place. It should be somewhere here. They should have a pivot point here with radiation starting from here instead of here. So usually we don't step and do a lot of movements on the lateral side of our foot. It's usually the medial side. So once you're actually stepping here and making a deep move forward and backwards, it's going to be sliding a little bit here, a little bit, just a little bit. I mean, it's not bad, but they could have made it better by moving this here. So it's a mystery. Maybe Nike is trying to do something different, or maybe it was a design flaw, who knows. But this is a little disappointing. But overall, the traction is a lot better than many of the signatures out there, like the Why Not 03, which looked like it had good traction, but it wasn't that great. The price point is a lot more affordable than the Zoom BB Next, and it's got what a basketball shoe should have, which is the proper heel to toe drop. Yeah. If this is a foam that's durable and it will stand the test of time and not compress all the way until it's thinner than the Forefoot material, then that's good. For now, it gets a pass. But of course, it will always be better if they use something a little bit more substantial that would outlast the Forefoot cushioning. That's pretty much it. I'm loving the simple, clean-cut design and the colorway that's released. It feels like a Phoenix Suns, New Orleans, the old Charlotte type of colorway. The Zoom Rise 2, it's good. It's super lightweight, but this cage is a bit of a mistake. They could have had a more proper outrigger instead, and a softer foam on the toe area. That's my only complaint. Other than that, it's a decent shoe.